that drug, drunk, pissy. Sipping whizzy while she smoking sticky. Pumping big punch so loud, you know the Bronx with me. Fuck with me. Come from them uptown avenues with them hustlers that make bread, serving more than a bird or two. If we never heard of you, it's nothing to discuss. And life's a bitch that I love to fuck for the rush. They don't get it, sack to sell with the bucks. Might as well spend it up, nothing in life's ever enough, huh? If you came from the bottom, none of these niggas want no problems. Cause we out here getting money. Work hard, play harder with the money. Get it how you live, fuck what anybody say. The closest to you, probably the ones that wanna see you dead. Don't trust a soul, I'm out for that gold. With a big cooler mommy.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rick Gage.
Gang.
Joined by Craze Boogie in the whatever screen you're looking at.
What's up, y'all?
Jaylah Sandoval.
What's up, y'all?
Oh, we don't get the "Es tu chica Jaylah" in her intro.
I'm in quarantine right now. Tu chica Jaylah's in quarantine.
And the star celebrity of the show, motherfucking Benny Banks, freshly shaven Benny Banks.
Yeah, he's giving us different vibes today.
Yeah, last week he was off. He took the week off, you know, but he's here.
I was there.
He was
I
there.
was there in spirit.
You were there, but he was like laying down on his bed, cuddled with the pillow, you know.
He's been in his feelings. Quarantine's got Benny all up in his feelings, bro.
I can't wait to have Party Benny back.
Bro, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in my house anymore, bro.
So this is your escape. Right now, you're in a different world right now.
Right now,
I'm in my room right now, bro. I'm not in a different room.
The show is produced by Trees Productions on the bottom corner, and our photography is done by the talented Clarence Wright III, who shall remain anonymous, I guess. He's not gonna show his photo.
Yeah, we hear that.
He's too cool to be in video.
We're gonna show some photography today.
So how are you guys been? It's been a week since we talked.
Well, apparently the good goal is that we're all still talking to each other and alive. So, I mean, goals. Accomplishments of the week, guys.
I'm
We made it here.
And some good news, the numbers are starting to come down as far as people that are being testing positive and that are going to the hospitals. So that's very small good news. On the bad news, it is getting closer to home because of a couple people that I've known have actually passed away from COVID-19. And that's wild to me. Like that's crazy. We had a coworker that retired 6 months ago what? Go ahead,
You're not casual about that.
It's not casual. It's just like people don't take this shit as serious as they should.
Who's the coworker?
We lost a coworker, and her husband is in ICU right now. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So.
Wait, who?
She retired 6 months ago. I'll tell you guys off air.
I bet.
So basically, this show is to escape from that bullshit. I know everybody's locked up in their house, but we want to know what Craze Boogie's been drawing. We want to know what Jaylah's been cooking.
Wow. The one girl on the team.
Jaylah.
My name.
What
one girl.
What Jaylah's been cooking. And Benny
I wonder
Banks
who's Jaylah
has been working.
Yo, so I've been doing a lot of sleeping, man. Be honest with you. I don't know, bro. I think this quarantine is getting to me now. Week 3 is like I'm losing my fucking marbles in my house now. I did go out this weekend. I went for like a little walk, up in Bronxville. So I drove out to like a place where there's not a lot of people and took a little walk. Just because I needed to get the fuck out of my house. I did that on Saturday. But since then, I've literally been fucking sleeping and watching mad Netflix. I've been watching mad shit. I watched Tiger King.
Okay. Good.
Been watching some other.
Aries Spears just watched Tiger King today, so we could talk
Oh,
about when he comes
great.
on.
We gotta holler at him about that. Banks, what the fuck you been doing? This nigga been out the crib.
He's been working.
Yeah.
Yo, I worked today. I've been biking and shit. I've been trying to run and walk, and I try to stay active, bro.
So I
I'll
have
be
a
going
serious
crazy.
question. Out of all of us here, the one essential worker is Benny.
Right now,
Yeah, kind of.
Everybody else is collect the unemployment.
No,
Yo.
Wow.
if my wife wasn't pregnant, I would be working too. But she is, and I'm able to work from home, so I work from home.
Gotcha.
The crazy I'm still getting paid, but they like a few people tested positive in the building where I work, so they're not letting anybody back until April 15th.
Oh wow.
Like at all in the whole building. And so some people are working from home right now. They just like, yo, just stay home. And I'm getting paid, so I'm not really worried
That's
about
a
it.
blessing, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you know, like,
But this
well,
this unemployment is no joke.
Not me. I'm fighting with unemployment, y'all.
Yo, how many?
Been waiting online. I got my scheduled hours. I got alarm clock set. Like, it's real out here.
you need to go get some fucking EBT, bro. You need to go get some groceries. Now's the time. If you're not employed, like now's the time.
First in the 15, bro.
Yeah, but people are having trouble getting unemployment and calling.
No, you can't even get on the websites.
Yo, this shit says I'm running out of time. What's this?
What?
Wait, hold on a second.
Hurry up.
What is going on?
What you
Wait a
mean we only
second.
have 9 minutes left? It's preposterous.
This can't be.
You want to start it over?
Look, even your screen
Madness,
behind you went black. What
Madness.
happened?
Oh, we gotta go.
That's the 5G stuff. That's the 5G. Shit, he dropped his beer.
Yo,
No.
what is going on at your crib right now, Rick?
Everything.
In the background.
What happened?
You getting hacked right now?
Craze, what happened?
Y'all heard about that
hacked?
5G that they give people think that 5G is giving coronavirus?
That's
Yeah.
the dumbest shit I've heard.
All right, we're gonna have to start this over again then, because it says.
Well, now, so we could pick up right here.
All right.
you want? Yeah, I can cut this.
I'm gonna stop right now, and I'm gonna get in again.
That was really weird, though, because your screen's back to normal.
Yeah, because cut. I'll see you guys in 2 minutes.
Action. What we were talking about? Oh, Benny was updating us. He said
Benny was saying 5G gives you coronavirus.
5G gives you coronavirus, 100%.
It does?
Yeah.
I heard about that shit, bro.
They put those 5G things up, and it's been giving people coronavirus, man. That's what people are saying, man. That's what's going on in the world. I'm just updating y'all.
That never came back.
Fucking 5G, bro. And this Tiger King thing is a distraction.
That's a distraction?
It's a distraction. They threw out that Tiger King for the distraction.
Benny Banks is
More 5G antennas.
The Tiger King works for the CIA?
Maybe.
That's why during coronavirus, they took him out of the jail because, he served his purpose.
They took him out of jail already?
Apparently, he's quarantined somewhere else because he might have coronavirus.
Oh,
That means all the 5G things are up.
Yup.
So more people are going to die now.
Aries' birthday was April 3rd, so you could say happy belated birthday.
Aries is an Aries. That's probably why his name.
Jessica Navarro just sent me that scoop from the bedroom.
Damn.
Damn.
Yeah.
Got the fucking team back there working too?
Like doing.
He's got his writers in the back.
Got my writers too, Kevin Hart. So what happened to Clarence? He decided not to come back?
I think he probably did when you late.
No,
He just texted me. He was like, yo, fuck y'all.
He's like, y'all are talking too much shit.
Yeah, that's what he said.
JT, what you been doing, bro? Since in the quarantine.
Yeah, I've been doing anything.
Week 3.
I've been editing these episodes.
Editing, bro.
Yeah.
First working man right there.
Yo, are you really in the dark like that, bro?
Wait,
No, I
what?
just have it. I have
Is
it
that the
down.
background? What is
That's
that?
the background. It's the background.
Oh,
You could change the background. See?
I don't know how to do that shit.
Oh, I texted you guys and you guys got the.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you could do it, Benny. You go to video, and on video you could change. It's called
Oh, Virtual background.
Virtual background.
Oh, I'm doing it on my phone.
No, you can do. I think you could do it.
Oh,
on
that's
your phone.
Background.
Yeah, he's in
I
the
like
train.
crazy shit. Yo, he's on the train.
Who? Clarence?
Great. You're gonna get coronavirus. Yo, there's this homeless lady wilding out on the train. Why are people still going crazy on the train, bro?
Just stay on the train.
Yo, and on homeless people panhandling on the train, I feel bad for them now. There's only like 6
It's
people
bad?
on the train.
Yeah, I can't.
Like, you're not making no money.
Damn.
You weren't making money before, but
Or
now like, I feel bad, and I never carry cash, so I can't give them shit.
Oh, Benny.
I think that's why
worried
people
about the
don't carry cash
panhandlers.
anymore.
I got $1, bro. I'll give it to you tomorrow.
You give them?
I'll give it to you. You give it to them.
Worried about his.
I probably won't give it to them though.
You're probably like, well, I need this.
I'll tell you that I gave it to them though.
Then he's gonna take that shit and buy a pastelito.
Well, I mean, at least I'll go for something worth it.
Yo, are you one of those people that if you got money in your pocket, you'll think about giving them, but you're like, nah, I'd rather hold this to buy a soda later?
Let's go. Let's do that. Like that question. Who, Craze, would you give money?
Sometimes I do. It depends, bro. I don't know. I feel like it depends on.
Aries
It depends on their energy.
on, and his phone is coming on. So our guest for today is Aries Spears. He's joining us in a second. This thing takes a while to load up.
Is it happening? You gotta send them the password or some shit, or let them on.
Yeah, I had to do all of that.
We were talking about like the security measures that they've been taking now.
So basically,
Zoom, right?
Zoom, which is the name of this app.
Shout out to Zoom.
Shout out to Zoom. Zoom basically, they were getting hacked because this is how they were doing kids' like schoolwork and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I heard they were putting up like backgrounds with like porn and shit on it.
yeah,
That's
That shit was funny.
basically they had to hold on a
It was
second.
little kids though?
Huh?
It was little kids that was hacking that shit?
Rick is drunk over there, bro. I think.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to work on this login.
Rick is fucking drunk, man. Look at him. Look, I know his eyes.
Nah,
You know,
Drunk?
I'm
nah, bro.
nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man. But
when's the last time you gave a homeless person $1?
Jaylah, question.
It's definitely been over 20-something days since quarantine.
What about a sandwich?
I usually do, bro. Like sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You know, what I do is like the kids that are selling candy and shit on the train. If I see,
Fruit snacks.
usually will buy a snack from them. One, because I love snacks, and number two, because I see little kids like hustling like that. I don't know. I feel like that's.
Oh, wait.
I respect that
What
shit.
happened to him? Did he leave?
Had to come back in. I guess this is the worst app thing.
No, but the worst panhandlers are the ones where even if you got some change, you'll be giving it to them. That happens. It's like, and then they just throw it on the floor like that's not enough. Like, bro, you're the one asking for money.
Somebody threw the change on the floor?
Yeah. Nasty.
No, you're getting decked.
The audio's connecting.
I don't care if you're homeless.
Yo.
Aries.
Hey,
Yo, what's good, brother?
Hey, what's
Welcome
good?
to the show.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm on the right on the right thing here. Like,
You're on the right show. You just have to
but
turn
am
the video on.
turn what on?
The video.
Your video on.
Okay, I thought it was on. I'm trying to. Well, how do I do that?
We can hear you clearly. At the if you're on your phone, at the bottom left corner, I think it says video and audio next to each other. You just would have to turn the video on.
Oh shit. Oh. I mean, I see when I scroll through how I see everybody's image, but I don't see where I have that option.
Let me see. Because I'm on a laptop.
Me too.
Who else is on the phone in here?
Me.
So where is it, Benny, on the phone menu?
Great.
Bro, to be honest, I just clicked on the little fucking picture. I actually don't know how to do that shit.
Oh, wait. Start.
Again, our only safety hope is Penny. Fabulous.
There we go.
Yeah, I got it now.
Welcome to the show, Aries Spears, everybody.
Hey.
Thank you.
Yo, thank you for coming on, bro.
Thank you for coming on, first of all. Second of all, happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Tag team Aries, because I'm an Aries.
Yeah.
My birthday's on Sunday. Ow.
Oh, that's what's up.
So we've been a huge fan. I listen to your podcast every Wednesday, you and Andy. Me and you've been talking for a while, a couple months. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Benny, introduce yourself.
I'm Benny.
Craze, introduce yourself.
What's up, big bro? Crazy Boogie over here from the BX.
Oh shit. Okay, what's going on, man?
You see him with Scully, right? He's got to be from the Bronx with that. And then our co-host Jaylah.
Hey, es tu chica Jaylah, because, guys won't let me live it down if I don't say it that way.
How you doing?
Thanks for coming on the show with me. It's actually the second time I get to talk to you.
Is that right?
Yeah, I worked with you when you did the improv in West Palm Beach, like a couple years ago on the Penthouse.
Okay.
Or iHeart in West Palm.
Who's the dude with the still picture with the smoke coming out of his nose?
That's Terrence. He's our photographer. He does. He's gonna play some stills on there, and then on another one that's in the chat. That's our producer. He's also gonna put some stills up.
Got you.
If we would be in our normal setting, we would be live from a monkey room where we could have some drinks, have a conversation, sit down, relax. This is just something we have to get accustomed to. Coronavirus.
Yeah.
So speaking of coronavirus, how have you been? I know you did a special a couple of days. I think it was 2 days ago. Was it for Comedy for Relief or something like that?
Yeah, I think so. With me, Jay Farrow, Afion Crockett, and C King.
CK. He's got a fan in this chat right now.
Yeah.
Yo, I like Louis C.K., man.
No, not Louis C.K. A dude named C King.
Oh, C King.
I thought it was talking about Louis C.K. I was like, yo, I'm making
it. He's fucking nasty. C King.
Yeah. C King. He did his Denzel impression, which is beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, he did. Aries and him were on IG Live a couple days ago. Aries was playing Shaq in the movie, and Denzel's supposed to be the coach, and he's got to inspire Shaq. So if you haven't seen it, I have the clip. I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah, he's bananas, man.
He's
they gotta be doing clips and shit.
What was that?
Come again?
Hey, you guys do clips? That's from the movie?
No, I don't. Most of those guys are more savvy than me when it comes to the social media thing. So, they do that and upload all the clips and all that.
So what are some things you've been doing during this, the quarantine and this COVID-19 coronavirus / you got to stay in your house and do nothing for these next couple weeks?
Yeah, man. I me and Tequila have gotten very close together. Yeah, me and Tequila been chilling.
What's your friend? Patron?
No, Tito. Well, Patron when I do tequila, but I meant to actually say Tito's vodka.
Tito's vodka.
Oh, I had a conversation with Tito's a couple days ago, including some Jello shots in the fridge.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
What you been writing?
Drink tequila.
I mean,
I get too sexual, man.
Say that again.
I can't drink tequila by myself, man. I get too sexual when I drink tequila.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't really been by myself. At the same time, man, I'm 45 years old, so I don't have the pressure of feeling like I gotta be with somebody.
Real, man.
God.
Like,
So guys, the Tito's vodka. You know, everybody always gives you a scenario. If you could be locked up somewhere, what would you watch? What would you listen to? You being a comedian, I'm pretty sure you're watching some stand-ups and you're watching some movies or some stuff.
You know, I'm catching up on shows that everybody been telling me about that I never really checked out. So I watched the whole first season, and I'm about two episodes into the second season of Breaking Bad.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
so
that either.
yeah, so that's a hot show. It still ain't my number one. My number one will for always be the undisputed champ Tony Soprano, The Sopranos. And then
Sopranos
yeah,
1,
and then,
Wire 2. That's what I got.
yeah, and well, you know, here's the thing, and a lot of people get mad at me for saying this, especially in the Black community. I think The Wire was one of the most overrated shows ever. I like the first two seasons. I like the first two seasons with Idris Elba and Wood Harris, but after that, I kind of fell off of it.
Yeah,
Power is my number 2 show.
Power.
Fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once the wire got political, it definitely fell off in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
You know, the season where they focus on like the kid, like the school kids and stuff like that,
That's the
that
Yeah.
fall off a little bit more for me. But yeah, that's one of my top like 5 all-time shows. Tell me you watched Tiger King though.
Dude, I literally am on episode 4 of season 1. Like if I flip my camera over, you could see I have it on pause on my TV right now.
So my only question I have to ask everybody when they watch Tiger King is, so far, what is your favorite music video?
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something, yo. Joe can sing.
Joe,
Yep.
but
Milli
not
Vanilli.
him.
he Milli Vanilli'd it. It's not really him, which is
It's not.
It's not. It took it
Nah.
away from me.
Okay, because I was saying when I was listening to him sing, I was like, yo, when he sing, he don't even seem gay.
Yo,
I hear a lot of cowboy manage in that. So now that makes sense to me.
you got a lot of bass.
No, but
Like,
Tiger,
he didn't
what do
sing
you?
them shit, but those are his tracks.
I mean,
Go ahead.
You said what?
Benny,
About the music.
Bro, I was like every 3 people are trying to talk at the same time.
Okay, you got the floor.
What's that show with like there's Mad Money or some shit?
Oh, Money
There's
Heist?
mad fucking people talking at the same time, and there's like fucking shit going down at the bottom and shit.
I have no clue, brother.
what the fuck you talking about?
Just lost.
Whatever.
Aries,
I'm
that's
fine.
Benny. Benny, that's Benny.
Oh, okay. All right.
Benny never paying attention on our show.
That-
He don't read the scripts. He don't come to the meetings. He don't know what's going on. He
He sound like President Trump.
Yeah, I just take all the credit for everything.
So you saying on this show Tiger King, that's not him vocally? That's not him?
No, BuzzFeed and TMZ put out. You know, TMZ is not really like a journalist thing, but they put out a report. It's another country band that did all the music.
Wow.
The music, but that kind of like took a piece of Joe Exotic away from it. Like, at least he could sing, you know? He's crazy,
Wow.
you know?
I just
You
really
got a
like
question
the
on-
creativity of his videos. I mean, his videos are just epic. Like,
Yeah, it's a wild show. You know, and you know, hat tip to white folks. I don't know what their infatuation is with thinking that just because they name an animal Steven, it ain't a wild animal no more.
Yo, people fucking with tigers like tigers are like regular cats. Like,
They not. I grew up in
Yeah.
Harlem, and there was
Let's go ahead.
there was this dude in Harlem that had a tiger as a fucking pet cat
yeah, I remember that shit.
in the PJ.
I saw it. He I think it was one time the tiger, people could see the tiger from the
window.
bathroom window. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, you can't be serious with that.
Oh,
Listen,
fuck?
there's always going to be exceptions to the rule, but for the most part, culturally, black folks, brown folks, we don't play with wild fucking animals. We might wear the shit. We'll wear the shit out some tiger socks, some niggas in Detroit, but we that's as far as we go, baby.
I mean, we come from, like, I'm Dominican, so my brother's Dominican. Benny's my brother, and Craze my best friend. My brother and I, we from DR. We come from the countryside of DR. So when we in New York, we don't want to deal with no country, no wild shit. Who wants to have like a pet tiger as a pet?
Yeah. The idea seems exotic till you remember these motherfuckers can eat your torso.
Yeah, bro.
What about that chick that the tiger bit her arm off? And she
Oh, come on, man.
Back to work.
She continues in the show like nothing happened.
She's like, I don't want his reputation intact.
They don't even explain that shit.
Mm.
Like the chick got her arm bit off, and she just keeps going like, "Yeah, I just got my arm bit off, but I'm good." Like,
like I said, man, there's exceptions to the rule. I mean, does every white girl have a flat ass? No, but we know the deal. You know what I mean? There's white tigers in the wild. We know they exist, but that ain't the normal Frosted Flakes. You know what I mean?
Man, you're right.
And Netflix did everybody dirty because they had his husband take his shirt off, and he has like full teeth, and they made him take his teeth out. And the girl that got bit by the tiger, they made her sit next to trash to film the confessional scene.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wow.
Netflix knew what they were doing.
Bro, they got a bunch of shit.
I thought that was her crib though. Didn't they all like live on the park?
No, man. No.
Nah, she don't work there no more.
Oh, man, this television thing is crazy, man. But hey, man, if it's for good entertainment, I guess it is what it is.
That's what it is, bro. Yo, how about playlists? What you listening to, bro?
Music.
I'm listening to y'all. Oh, you talking about, music spots. You know what, man? I vary, man. I could be one day listening to Michael Bublé. Then the next thing I know, I'm listening to, X and Hova. Then the next thing you know, I'm listening to Randy Travis.
Randy Travis.
I don't know who Randy Travis is, bro. You gotta put me on.
Country star. He's a country star.
Country, okay. I'm not really into country like that.
I'm not either. But to know thy enemy, you got to do your homework.
Yo, yep.
Gotta study what these people eat.
Gotta be well-rounded, guys.
You got to, man. That's how you get them. You got to understand who you're dealing with.
Yo, do you hear? Jeremy Renner, the dude, Hawkeye.
Yeah.
He dropped an album.
A country album.
Yeah, I never heard his music. I know he plays, but I never heard his music.
That shit's high.
Listen, if Bradley Cooper can do it.
Like that old school, like Bryan Adams type shit.
Oh yeah, Bryan Adams was my boy from Canada.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you got that vibe, kind of going with it. It's not bad.
Oh, that's that sexy, raspy voice.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Sultry shit, like the sultry white boy shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, nah, my man is Michael Bublé. That man is cold.
Is he on a show on Netflix with Tony Danza where he plays Tony Danza's son?
What?
I don't know. I never heard.
Oh no, that's Josh Brolin.
Oh, you know what show I just finished watching and it's so good? The Big Show. With The Big Show, he's like doing like a family sitcom. It's really, really funny. It was really good. I liked it. It was cute. He did a good job.
Yeah, one of my other favorite shows that I used to watch religiously. I actually own the entire 6-season set with that comes in the pink velvet box. Is the Sex in the City.
I see it because you knew about the pink velvet box.
Yo,
yeah, man.
What are you? Are you like a Miranda, a Carrie? What do you think?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Samantha, because she's wild, is my go-to. But Charlotte, man, Kristen Davis, them legs and heels is bananas.
Yeah.
So if you don't,
fuck Sarah Jessica Parker. But
say that again.
I said I never really fucked with Sarah Jessica Parker. Like her, I never really found her like that attractive. But Charlotte, that was my baby in that show.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Rick, what you were saying?
You gotta watch Sarah Jessica Parker and Hocus Pocus. That's all I gotta say to you.
He was fire in Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I can't do her in a movie, but the series was one of my go-tos.
She was really good in Hocus Pocus. I think that was like there. It was like Hocus Pocus, Sex in the City. Like that's what you're getting.
That's because she was playing. That's because she was playing a witch, man. She looks like a witch already, so it wasn't that big of a leap.
God damn, Craze.
They said they're gonna do a Hocus Pocus too, by the way.
But it never happened.
So we got Aries on the show. I've been a fan since Mad TV. I'm sure you hear this all the time. Def Comedy Jam. But what put me over the top, and you might not get this all the time, was the movie The Pest.
Oh yeah, I mean, people refer to that as like a cult. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite flicks of all time.
It has, bro. We grew up.
I appreciate it, man.
What's something like? How did that come about? You being on that movie?
I really just auditioned for it. And the director Paul Miller had directed a couple episodes of some other things I had done. So long story short, I just won out the role in an audition. He wanted me and booked me, and there was that.
Yeah, that's dope.
Still one of my favorite flicks to watch, still to this day.
A lot of people, it's weird, man, because I don't want to shit on the movie, but maybe I don't know. It wasn't the best movie, I think. Yeah. But a lot of people will say, "Hey, my kids loved it," or "I watched it when I was a kid," and it was almost like maybe to a little bit of a lesser degree, like Half Baked. It just became kind of like this cult following.
Yeah, bro. I feel like for us it was that. It was like it was really not. I'm not gonna say it deserved an Oscar. You feel me? But it was like some goofy ass shit that we grew up with that always kind of like remind us of our childhood shit too.
Yeah. It had a nostalgic kind of feeling for people.
Plus, it was a Spanish lead, a Spanish supporting actor, a Black supporting actor. So it was like people from my neighborhood that like I identified with. I used to watch House of Bugging and I used to watch Mad TV. And I've been a Leguizamo fan. I've always been a Aries Spears fan, especially when you did the LL Cool J. It was LL Cool J, Snoop, Jay-Z, and somebody else. DMX. So, and the impressions, and then Jerry Maguire, the voiceover work you've done, the stand-up comedy, and the podcast. Out of all the work you've done, I love the podcast more.
Well, I thank you, man, because we really trying to grow it into something and trying to compete with some of these big boys on the block, which is tough. But hey, man, the more listeners we get, the more followers, the more people put the word out there. I believe in it, so I think it's just a question of time.
So the premises of your podcast is Aries and Andy Steinberg. Andy is a Jewish Mexican white comic, and then it's Aries, and you have these interesting conversations about television and current events. And sometimes Andy will agree with you, and sometimes he'll try to, what's the word? Pedantic. He's pedantic, like flip-floppy, wish-washy.
Yeah.
So, that's what I love about the show. It's you at your rawest, truest form. Plus, you sprinkle in a lot of comedy with the Leroy Furious and emails, the interaction between the fans. If anybody who hasn't heard it yet, is my favorite podcast. I used to listen to Joe Rogan a lot. I haven't seen a Joe Rogan episode in like 6 months because I started religiously listening to you and Andy go at it.
Well, I appreciate that, Money, a lot. Because it's weird, and I know because you listen to the podcast, you've heard me mention it. Joe don't really care for me much.
Yeah.
And he turned me down. So, anytime you get rejected, you always have this thing in the back of your mind, some fantasy in your head where you want to go, I want to be able to get where he's at or eclipse him so that it's kind of all right, motherfucker, I'm gonna make you regret this type shit.
Yeah.
And listen, man, at the end of the day, that ain't my end-all, be-all driving force.
No.
I mean, I want us to be as good as we could be and stand out. But, I got a little revenge in my heart.
Hey, so you got to do what you got to do.
That's motivated.
What other, you're obviously working actively on growing the podcast and doing all of that. What else do you have in the works? I mean, I know obviously now with COVID, things change a little bit. Do you have any other projects coming up or anything that, you're looking forward to once COVID's done?
Well, there's this movie I did called 420, which is supposed to come out the 17th of this month. David Keith is in it, popular character actor, one of the Baldwin brothers, William Baldwin, and I forget the Travoyer or the little midget that died that played
Mini-Me, yeah.
Yeah. So, we got that coming out. We'll see how I do. But right now, like I said, the podcast is the driving force. And eventually I'm trying to gear up for another stand-up special. Again, Netflix turned me down. A bunch of people turned me down already. So I got a lot of grinding to do to try to make this shit happen on my own.
And that's what, honestly, you're honest about all of this on the podcast. I mean, I've listened to it religiously, so I know where you're coming from. You had Russell Peters on the show. Honestly, I never heard of Russell Peters ever in my life till I heard him on your show.
Wow.
I'm honest to God. So I heard the interview with Russell Peters. I was like, this dude's pretty funny. I started Googling him, looking him up. I saw his special on Netflix. And it's interesting to me that you have Russell Peters, who was he had the first stand-up special on Netflix. And he was explaining on the episode, like, yo, Netflix is a little weird. Like, they won't put him back on Netflix. So,
yeah, this whole fucking industry is goofy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And he's had one of the highest streamed specials on Netflix.
Right.
Notorious is the name of it.
Right.
No, but what are the? I mean, I don't know if this is something you might want to get into like that. But what are the politics on that? Because I feel like I be seeing some stand-up specials on Netflix that I'm like, really, like this dude got it. You know what I'm saying? Like people that. So
you know what, man?
Because you're a funny ass dude. You're a funny ass dude. I can't see why they would see a stand-up special coming from you being like a positive. Like it would be more than like I'm surprised they're not coming to you like, yo, what's up, dude? Especially, you feel me? Like what are the politics behind it?
I always say, man, this business is like this game is like high school, man. You know what I mean? Like it's all about clicks and popularity. The cool kids sit with the cool kids and the goth kids sit with the goth kids, et cetera, et cetera. And, again, because Rick listens to the podcast, something I always say is like, there's two champions. There's the people's champ and there's the paper champ. Hollywood is the paper champ and the people are the people in the streets that ain't got shit to do with Hollywood. And on paper, Hollywood don't want nothing to do with me because they really don't know. And I don't want to come off vain, but they really don't know how nice I am. All they know is what they've heard about me. And because it's negative, they don't want to fuck with me. Or because they think other people don't want to fuck with me, they join the high school bandwagon. Whereas I know I'm the champ with the people, meaning, the people love me to fucking death.
It's true.
And it's like trying to make the marriage between the people and the paper is what I eventually have to try to do. I'll put it in basketball terms. Even though he was never a champion on paper, the people loved Allen Iverson. There's nowhere this nigga could go where he ain't gonna get that love. He was just as important as Jordan. He just on paper didn't have the jewelry. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's the game you got to play in this bullshit.
I feel you, bro. That's just whack though, because like I said, I seen some bullshit stand-ups on Netflix. And I like stand-up, so I'll put something on. I'll be like, even if the dude looks kind of corny, I'll put it on and be like, let me see what's up.
Yeah, you give it a shot, but
I've seen some bullshit on there, man. That's fucked up.
Yeah, man. I mean, the honesty of it is, ain't but a handful of really talented motherfuckers. Like that you would go, hands down, bar none, these are the heavyweights. Ain't but a handful of motherfuckers. Everybody else is just filling time. I almost look at it like Studio 54. Like I watched a great documentary on Studio 54 on Netflix. Everybody wants to get into the club. It's the hottest club in the world. It's called show business. But everybody don't deserve to get beyond the velvet rope. It's only a handful of motherfuckers that truly deserve to get beyond the velvet rope. Everybody else is just trying to get in because you can make $1 million a week on a hit show. You can have a movie career and never look back. It could change your life. So when you're dealing in that kind of industry where you're always one thing away, if it's a commercial, if it's a viral video, a movie, a television show, you're always one thing away from having your life change and being in the 50% tax bracket.
And nowadays it includes TikTok, guys.
Yo,
Yeah, that could be that too, though.
Yo, I don't know, man. That TikTok wave, I don't know.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like any of this shit. Like, I really wish we could go back to the days of 6 channels and just, you don't have to YouTube and Vine and Facebook and Instagram, because it's given a lot of opportunities to motherfuckers who are holding the line up.
Absolutely.
Just because you could be funny in 5 minutes, 60 seconds does not make a career. A lot of dudes make the mistake of thinking because they funny with a YouTube clip that they can all of a sudden go and fill out a theater or a comedy club, and they can't. And when they get on stage, they can only do 5 minutes because they've been conditioned for 5 minutes. Versus you got to put together an hour and a half, and you got to do that several times. Your second special, your third special, your fourth special. That's a different hustle.
Yeah.
Yo, hours worth of material sounds crazy to me, bro. That's.
I can't do 5 minutes. I've been trying. That's my goal. I have an ongoing bet with my brother. I'm gonna go to the stage and I'm gonna work my 5
I can't do 2 minutes.
But it's not because I understand 100%. First of all, Instagram, TikTok, and all that, it's only a minute long. So a lot of the comedians that are transitioning, you could tell a true comedian from one another. I've interviewed a ton of comedians so far, and there's a handful in my hand that I've met in person that is naturally funny, that can actually do a special, that could be on a stand-up.
Right.
But you're talking about stand-up comics, and I'm gonna go there. I need your 5. It always changes. I know it always changes. Just on the stand-up point, we're not even talking film. We're not talking television. We're not talking improv. Just on stand-up, pure stand-up. That's a different animal from television and movie.
Well, I'm gonna give it to you like this, because people always expect you to say, and it's almost blasphemous if I don't say it, but I gotta make that 2 parts. There's the Mount Olympus, there's the gods, there's the niggas that are above everybody. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy,
right.
Bill Cosby.
Cosby, you would still put in that list?
Yeah, because he drug bitches don't change his humor.
Yeah.
He's got really pretty personal humor. I mean,
his body of work is still his body of work. R. Kelly might have peed on bitches, but it don't change the fact that his body of work was incredible. It might make him a shitty human being, but it ain't got nothing to do with his creativity.
I believe I Could Fly was my fucking 5th grade graduation song, man. I could never. I'm always love that song. You feel me?
Yeah. So, but if you're talking about comedians today, even there's another one who's on the deceased list, but God rest his soul, Patrice O'Neal, Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr, and it's a toss-up for me between Tommy Davidson and Corey Holcomb.
Ooh,
okay.
Now, I've heard this list a couple times on the show, right?
Yeah.
I always hear you say Tommy Davidson. Now, only thing I've seen from Tommy is Booty Call. I think there's like 2 other films, and anything he did on In Living Color.
Now he had a couple.
I've never seen Tommy Davidson stand up.
Yo, hold on. Time out. We got to have a moment of silence. So wait a minute. You've never seen Tommy Davidson stand up?
I've never seen Tommy stand up. No.
Okay. Here's 2 things you got to YouTube.
Okay.
You got to YouTube Tommy Davidson square dancing.
Okay.
You got to YouTube, and Tommy was on the Shaq's All-Star Comedy Jam with me, Kevin D. Ray, and Cedric. Go look at his, when he does the Spanish bit, where he starts talking in Spanish, talking about Telemundo, and the whole Spanish joint, where he starts singing doing the soap opera. Yo, them 2 bits alone, the Spanish shit and the square dance. Tommy's a brilliant genius, dude.
Tommy funny, bro. He is funny, bro. I fuck with him.
So I have a question because I know. Oh, go ahead, Rick.
No, go ahead, Jayla.
No, I want to make sure that you get the rest of that because I know you're saying something else about the list. I have a question for.
Oh yeah, no. I said those were my lists. You know, Patrice, Dave, Bill Burr, Tommy, and Corey.
What about Paul Mooney?
Oh, he's got a soft spot for Paul Mooney.
No. Listen, I like Paul. I dig Paul.
Yeah.
But Paul's like escargot, man. It's a particular taste.
Okay.
I feel you on that.
You know what I mean? Because yeah, he go. Look, listen. Comedy is all based in truth. Good comedy is based in truth. But there's a fine line between being able to talk about that truth without it coming off a certain way. And even though a lot of what he's saying is funny and it's definitely true, I hate to use the word angry because that's what white people, that's how they describe niggas that, you know, are adamant and black power-ish. Oh, he's angry. So I don't want to say he's angry, but Paul, man, it's like Nat Turner, nigga. There's a certain, his gumbo got a certain flavor, man. And not everybody can handle that gumbo.
It gets like preachy, I feel like, too. You know?
Yeah, even preachy is a word that makes me nervous. Because both, to me, preachy and angry have negative connotations. But I don't know how to describe it, but you got to be in the mood for Paul.
So last week we had Clayton Williams, who's he's an up-and-coming stand-up comic. And we were talking about comedy. And I felt like comedy is a space where you have to give the comedian on stage all the room to work. All the room to work. We brought up on the show where, I forgot his name. He's Joe Rogan's friend. He brought up the joke about Kobe. And then
Ari Shaffir.
Ari Shaffir, yeah. And then Andy Steinberg, Andy brought up a joke that somebody he knows, and you guys were talking about, it's not about it's about the joke and how you do it and how funny you can, like, because he said, oh, you know, today we got justice, a rapist died. And he did it on the day that Kobe died. The other comic that Andy was talking about said, LeBron passed Kobe. I didn't know Kobe would take it that hard. And that was his joke. So it was a different tone on the joke. So right. I feel like comedy, you're going into a comedy show, you're gonna get offended by some shit. But you gotta eat it because you gotta give the comic the room to work. Now, if it's a terrible joke, like Ari Shaffir's joke, then it is what it is.
But let me just say, you know, obviously timing is everything. Even the joke that Andy told, which I thought was a little funny,
yeah,
that timing still could have been worse. The man's body was still warm.
Yeah.
So that joke still, the timing wasn't right. Number one. Number two, Ari's joke didn't seem like it came from a place of humor. It seemed like it came from a place of anger. Yeah. Like, nigga, if Kobe did rape the bitch, was she your sister? like it just came from a different energy where it was like, dude, you're not even trying to be funny. This just feels like a personal attack.
Like it's petty. Like it was like a petty.
Right. So it don't matter when he would have tried to tell the joke. The energy that which he was emanating was just, that was something else. That wasn't about being funny. Listen, man, I did a joke. I told a joke, and I remember when it happened. I probably did it 2 days after it was announced. Remember my man from the group, Crisscross, the kids, the two kids? They wore their clothes backwards. So when they announced that the dude, one of the members had died, I went on stage 2 days later. I was like, yo, I forget my man's real name, but I was like, yo, y'all heard, right? So-and-so from Crisscross just died. Our audience was like, yeah. So that took about 3 pregnant pauses. And I went, damn, I wonder if they're going to bury that nigga in the casket upside down. So, you know, and it was one of those where, of course, people went, oh, but nigga, it was funny.
Yeah, because And I think that to your point, there was like no malicious, no tone to that joke. It was just kind of like an observation of some shit that they, that they put to the forefront, which is wearing. Like, I feel like I understand that you're saying like the Kobe shit is more like, were you trying to be funny, bro, or were you trying to make a point? Like,
but it didn't even come off like it was up for debate. Like, were you trying to be funny? No, it came off like, nigga, fuck funny. I'm personally attacking this nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had a straight
That's
face.
a different thing, man.
He was standing outside the Charlotte Hornets arena because Kobe got drafted by Charlotte. And I don't know whether he knew Kobe's daughter was on the helicopter or not, but it was bad.
So I have a question that we're talking lists. Do you have any female comedians that?
Oh, here we go.
That you like,
It's funny. It's funny. Like, Rick is laughing, and this is how I know he listens to the podcast. Because he's laughing because he already knows what my answers are. And I'm trying to better myself. So, in an effort.
You're in the same space. You're in the same space as
right.
His whole screen went off.
No. I have to put my phone on the charger. Hold on. So no, I'm trying to better myself, and I'm trying to answer your question, but I'm walking through a minefield. Of course, women are funny. They're funny, but not worthy of my top 5. I think there are women who are funny.
But do you have like a separate? I don't think a top 5 necessarily, and I think women especially in the stand-up world are a little bit more behind. Just because of the times, I think that's just what it is, unfortunately. But are there any women that do in comedy that do kind of grasp your attention at least? Like,
yeah.
I love this girl.
Yeah, Sherry Shepherd is dope. I like Sherry Shepherd. And some of the women who I like comedically aren't comedians, but they're strong comedic talents. Like, when I worked with Mo Collins on Mad TV, and Deborah Wilson and Nicole Sullivan and Alex Bornstein and Stephanie Weir, all funny fucking ladies, but none of them were stand-up comics. I think one of the reasons, and this debate has been brought up, because there was actually a documentary called Why Women Aren't Funny. And it was produced by Bonnie McFarlane, or whatever her name is. She was the wife of comedian Rich Voss, who would be on Opie and Anthony a lot. And they had Patrice O'Neal on the documentary, and he flat out said, "Women aren't funny, or at least women aren't as funny as men." I won't go as far as to say women aren't funny, but I don't think they're as funny as us, because we have a natural immaturity that stays with us to the day we die. And women, I think, have a natural instinct to nurture, and because they have kids and have a maturity level that we don't have. So what we deem as funny because it's immature and juvenile, they would look at and go, "That's so immature." And I think I think when you let that get in the way of what you're supposed to be first, which is a comedian, I would say that's their only strike.
Interesting. So I know you mentioned also that you're working on going back, you doing your stand-up special and doing all that, working on that. Is there anything that you do and you don't do to prepare for this? Like, do you stay away from like watching other people stand up? Do you focus, like, do you have a routine, like do you go boxing and running? Like, I don't know, like what sets that inspiration?
I really take my time because I don't want to rush anything. So if it takes me a little longer to cook up the bird and serve it to you, so be it. But I look at Patrice, I look at Dave, and I look at how strong Patrice was and how strong Dave is, and I just want to be able to do that so that when I come on stage, from the time I say hello to the time I say goodnight, I'm giving you nothing but pure fire. So that might take me a little bit longer than most people.
I honestly, this is something, you know, when I listen to the podcast, what I appreciate is we're able to email and you respond to a lot of listeners. But when I'm listening to it, I feel like popping up at the set and saying, nah, Aries, I think you're at that point. I think that you are ready, because there's certain ingredients that make a great stand-up comic, and you have all those ingredients, and I think you have the material for it. For whatever reason that may not have happened, or some of these so-called producers haven't bit for it, but I think that if you tell me personally, 90 minutes, Aries Spears, are you watching? That's a fucking hell yes. Because the jokes, the timing, the charisma, because comedy also has to do with your perspective, your point of view. And I might not agree with everything that you say or that you say on the podcast, but I respect it like hell, because I know. So I believe you're in that space, and I think things happen when they're supposed to happen.
Let me ask you, because I'm curious to know, what's one of the things you don't agree with me with? And I'm going to scroll my phone so I see your face, because I want to look in your eyes when you tell me this.
Let's go.
Get close, Rick. Get close. Let him see your eyes, bro.
Hold on. There we go.
I think women can be funny. Now it's a different level of laughter. For instance, I just like, if I watch a special, right, I'm gonna laugh super hard at a Patrice special, opposed to, you know, like, let's say Amy Wong, who's on Netflix now. It's a different kind of humor, and I think. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think because I'm a man, I receive it differently. If I was a woman, maybe it might be funnier to me because I might be on her shoes. Or
I was gonna give you, that's part of my take on it too, which is I feel like I kind of agree with what you're coming from, but I feel like that also depends on who's the audience. Because I feel like funnier to women, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? Like, because of the ability, you feel me? Like, I feel like I relate to some of the shit you say because it's from a male perspective. You from the hood, you know, like there's different things that like are relatable to me. Because, you know, your perspective that you bring into what you do. Whereas if a woman told a joke, it might not hit the same because her experience with whatever topic it is gonna be different than like mine, or, you know, like a male. That's my.
Let me ask you this. I want to ask each of y'all, and Benny, he's still there, right?
Yeah, he's there. He just.
All right, I want to ask each of y'all the same question. Okay. So I'm gonna start with you, Rick. Give me your top. Just give me your top 4 dudes in comedy.
For me personally, one would have to be. I'm gonna go with Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
It used to be Eddie because I think Eddie had the whole package, but I'm going with Dave. I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with Patrice, and give me a second. Oh, and I'm gonna go with Chris Rock, actually.
Boom. Those are your 4.
Yeah, those are my 4.
Name me a female comedian that's funnier than any of them.
I mean, you got me, because honestly, I tried to make. You see how I made a list of 5 comedians,
right?
I tried to make a list of 5 female comedians.
And you couldn't.
It's hard, isn't it?
And I struggled.
Long is kind of. She's funny.
But even if I'm saying you're 4 dudes, give me a female comedian that's as funny or funnier than them 4 dudes.
You know what?
From my point of view, there isn't one.
Okay, your turn, Lewis.
Yo, I like Monique. Stand-up.
No, hold on, Lewis. First, give me your 4 dudes.
This is gonna be. So I like Chappelle. I like George Lopez.
Sinbad is funny as hell, man. I didn't even know Sinbad was that funny till I went back and I started watching his stand-ups.
Sinbad is funny?
He is pretty funny.
I'm gonna give you the name of the stand-up that I watched.
Sinbad is funny.
I'm gonna go with Pryor too, because that, like,
I know the way he dresses.
That I really thought.
Richard was a different.
All right, so you got your 4. Name a female funnier than them.
I mean, funnier than them. I don't know. I'll say up there. I think Monique is kind of up there.
Well, see, okay.
Hold on. We're gonna get to you, baby. You think Monique?
Nah, bro.
Than them 4 dudes?
The more,
bro. I think funnier. I think she's up there though. Like I think she's funny. Somebody that I think is funnier.
I don't believe you, Benny. Give me your 4 dudes.
Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Richard Pryor, and I gotta put Paul Mooney, bro. That's my dude.
All right. What name the female funnier than them?
There's no top female comedians, bro.
Exactly.
There's
now
no
your turn,
top
sweetheart.
female.
Jayla, your turn.
No, I mean, I know there isn't. I mean, I do what I got to research. I think the only difference is that men have been allowed, and like you said, it's that no fuck it filter. Like, I could be immature. I could be this.
I don't think so.
We're known for being, and I don't think women, for the most part, have been allowed to be that way.
Yeah, but we can't. But I know, but we can't use the word allowed. Now in 2020, everybody's doing everything.
Yeah,
they
correct,
got shows on HBO for
the
training.
race is so far behind that catching up. Yeah, we could catch up, but it's not going to happen overnight. And now you're seeing more female comedians who are doing more ballsy stand-up, who are relating more to men. Because now they're saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to talk about it. Whereas before it was like, I might get into the wrong clique, or I might get into this thing, or it might be an issue. And I think that's always been an issue. And not only, and in comedy, I think it's probably you're seeing it the most because comedy is so raw and it is so like in your face. And you're right, that space hasn't been there. Those voices hasn't been there. And I've talked to female comedians that's always been like, what stopped you? It's like, it's kind of like what to say, like, and some guys have that no fuck it filter, like, fuck it, I don't give a shit who likes this guy, like, I'm cool with that.
I agree with you. It might have been challenging for women to make it in comedy, but I don't think because of what they could say it was. I mean, it was a different time. I just think it's always been a male-dominated form of entertainment, and it just hasn't been that one that breaks that seal.
Listen, just because you have the strong desire to do so doesn't mean you have the skill set to do so. I'm sure there are a lot of women in the WNBA, if for no other reason than to prove the point, would like to be able to dunk like the men, cross over like the men, pass like Magic
that's
Johnson.
The point me and you don't
dominate the paint like Shaq. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm sorry to all the feminists out there, here's a hardcore reality. Certain shit you just can't do.
So, Aries,
I don't give a fuck how much you want to do it. You're not going to dunk like Dominique. You're not going to pass like Magic. You're not going to fly through the air like Michael. You just can't. And that's all right.
I got to text Andy after this because I see what it's like being in his seat. I agree with you. I just feel like I'm trying to be more open-minded. I'm trying to, there are some comments.
And I think the fact that you are is sweet. That's sweet that you're trying to be that way.
So wait, I have a question. If there was a female in whatever that she said, "Yo, school me. Like, I'm gonna do this the way," and could there be a mold?
Put the time into that female comic.
It would be crazy for me to say that it's not possible, because everything and anything is possible. One day you might have a woman in the NBA who could dominate the paint like Shaq. You might have a woman who could be graceful and fly through the air like Michael. But if and when that day comes, I want to check the penis. I'm checking for penises. But it could happen.
Hey, listen, there are females out there, and I've been one of them, my doctor has asked to check my testosterone levels, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yo, I got a question. How do you feel about Key and Peele? Like, do you think that it was just like they got an opportunity that you didn't get? Do you think that they're just like people like the industry likes them better?
Listen, I'm not gonna. They're both talented, man, and Jordan Peele is got to be one of the most talented writers, directors, producers.
100%.
Like I've said this in many interviews, I just didn't see it coming. Like when he was on Mad TV, he showed you no signal of him being able to do that. He was quiet. Creatively, he didn't jump off the page like Keegan. Keegan, you saw it. With Keegan, you could clearly tell with his ability to do characters and his personality that he was what he was. Jordan was so quiet, man, and he didn't pop on Mad TV the way he may have popped on Key and Peele, which I'm sure he had more of a creative hand in, hence his name on the show. So I'm sure that played a part in it. But as far as this dramatic, serious horror movie phenomenon, dude,
I mean,
nobody saw that coming.
No, because first of all, he took horror movies and he blended it with comedy. And that, the Wayans brothers did Scary Movie, but that was more of a spoof. It wasn't like they were not trying to be like scary in that movie. They were not trying to scare nobody during those movies. But with Jordan Peele's movies, there are those moments where you're watching a fucking horror flick, but there's just some comedy underlying to it.
Yeah, and it's very subtle and it's very light. It's not like it's really 50% comedy, 50% horror, or some 60-40, 70-30 mix.
Yeah.
It's really 90% horror, 10% comedy. But it's done so well.
The message
yeah, man.
He tucks in all those movies.
Yeah.
But with horror, it's you can't do a 50-50 because it depends on the genre. So if we were doing like a comedy film and you had a little bit of horror in it, it's different. But those were more I see they're horror comedy, but I see them more as sort of horror films. Which was Us and what was Get Out?
Get Out.
And then Mob.
And I noticed Candyman is going to be a beast.
Oh, one of my favorite horror flicks from the 90s was Candyman. I love Child's Play. I love The Little Leprechaun.
You going to the hood now. That's that hood shit. Them movies were horrible.
I grew up in Harlem. I'm from West Side, and I grew up in Harlem. But I love the Leprechaun movie. I love
Leprechaun is legendary.
I'm good, guys.
And I also, what was the other one I just said? Jesus, I forgot. But
Child's Play.
Child's Play.
And Child's Play. Child's Play was. I saw the new one that the remake. It was not good at all. It was terrible.
Yeah, that's like when they tried to do the remake of Freddy Krueger. Shit was garbage.
It was terrible.
Everything don't deserve a remake, man. Some shit is best left alone.
So I know you're a big Rocky fan, right? Let's say Hollywood got into their brain to do a Rocky remake. Forget about the Creed franchise. Would you be down to see somebody else play Sylvester Stallone's part?
No.
Nah, dog. You fucking with my childhood, B.
They would have to
man.
They would have to like CGI Stallone, make him like the.
Not even.
What are you gonna Paul Walker him?
Yeah.
I do gotta say something about the Rocky series though. The movie Rocky Balboa, that's the one Stallone did several years ago. When I first saw it I was in the theater watching the movie. I found it kind of humorous. It didn't sink in like the message and everything Stallone was writing in that movie.
Right.
I didn't appreciate it till I was much older. A couple of years later, I saw it on TV, and then I watched the film. And I listened to the part where he's talking to his son.
Right.
All the messages, and I appreciated it a lot more. But when I first saw it, you know what it was? I was watching Rocky, and Stallone was like 60 already. And it didn't. The first time, it didn't let me watch the movie.
Right.
Nah, I wasn't on board with that one, bro.
No,
again, and I said it on the podcast. That's what makes Stallone genius as a writer, because he addressed the elephant in the room. Of course, everybody was going to be doing that, going, man, look how old this nigga is, man. He's supposed to be putting on gloves and beating young niggas. No, he played into the fact that he was old. He was George Foreman, you know what I mean? And he kept that reality. And it was because that reality was there that you didn't dismiss it as foolish. And on top of the fact of that, it was a great movie. From a writing standpoint, it was a great movie, man. You know, it's like I said, everything don't need to be remixed. My father, I grew up watching The Honeymooners. When I saw that they were doing The Honeymooners with Cedric and Mike Epps, I'm like, I turned into a racist white person. It's like, these niggas doing? I don't care if they are black, nigga. What are you doing? We're Ralph Cramden and Endor and them niggas. Fuck are y'all doing?
Nah, man. Yeah, I was
Feel you
with
on
that.
that, bro. Feel you on that.
But that's
If they ever do, and the rumor has been around, you know, doing James Bond with Idris Elba, the first black James Bond. He's really British, and the man, the brother in me would want to support that.
Yeah.
But I you know, I grew up on Sean Connery, Roger Moore, you know, and I'm like, come on, man, what the fuck you niggas doing?
Nah, I don't know, bro.
I would watch. First of all, I think Idris gets a pass with anything he does. It's just I'm a fan of The Wire, man.
I don't know. This time of day, I feel like it will flourish. You know, there's a lot of black films out there. They may be able to slip it in, but you know, I don't know whether or not it will live past.
I think white Hollywood wouldn't accept it no matter what. But
no, I think white Hollywood would take the gamble on it if they felt there was a profit to be had.
Yeah, they can make money from definitely will.
Yeah, but and I even think the public will go for it. I'm just saying, me personally, I you know, I don't want to see my heroes fucked with.
Do you think it will ruin the franchise? The James Bond franchise?
No, because if I was doing that film, right, 007 is just the name of the agent, you know. James Bond's probably the alias. Now, actually, a little bit of history for you. The character 007 was written on a Dominican man.
Really?
Ian Fleming, the writer of the movie 007, wrote the character based off Porfirio Rubirosa, he's allegedly a Dominican diplomat.
That makes sense.
These white folks steal everything, don't they?
Swag.
All these goddamn white folks steal from niggas. That's all they do. They steal from all the niggas. Goddamn crackers.
I'm gonna send you the link. Ian Fleming based Bond after him. He was a diplomat. He was the first man on this side of the world to own his own private jet. And he died he used to love racing cars. He died racing his Lambo or I think it was a Ferrari, one of the two. And he had all the best women, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Marilyn Monroe.
Look at that.
All the best women in the world. I'm working on a treatment and a script on that man's life. It's been done, but not in the right way.
Me and Andy actually talked about that today because since we're doing this quarantine, we're going to start talking about a lot of movies and TV shows. And he said he had been watching all the Bond movies within the last 24 hours. So I didn't even know that. I wish I would have knew that. I would have brought that to his attention.
So this man was married to DR, was under control of a
dictator. A dictatorship?
He was a dictator, Trujillo. So basically, he wanted to do the same thing, cleanse DR. He wanted, if you went to a Dominican home, you needed to have a picture of Jesus and him, Trujillo. This man married Trujillo's daughter, and he sent her back to Trujillo like, yeah, you got to go back to your dad. And then Trujillo, a dictator, held DR for 36 years, I think it was. He held it down as the dictator of the Dominican Republic for 36 years. He told his daughter, well, what did you do wrong? Why did he send you back home? That's how much respect this dude had.
Wow.
And there's a theory that he used to be an assassin for the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
I got to send you some stuff on him.
Yeah, man, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get Rick teaching us all stuff on a Tuesday.
And listen, I could stomach a black James Bond, but I couldn't stomach a woman. You listen, man. I'm gonna tell you this, and again, I know Rick listens to the podcast. I don't want this to come off like I don't respect women, because I do. I got love for women, but there's a part of me.
Shamor, what's her name? Shamor, and then there's another one. I'm trying to remember her name. Oh shit! But two of your best listeners, they always write to you.
Oh, Shamor Emery.
Yeah,
and
Shamor Emery.
Farrah.
And there's another one. I forgot her name.
Farrah. Her name's Farrah.
Farrah. Yeah. So you might sell your point of view, but women understand. You know, it's just.
Yeah, I just listen. A little bit of me is chauvinistic, and I just cringe when I see movies, action movies, where women beat up men like they're children. And it'd be one thing if you was a fat, horrendous bitch, because all the bitches that really could fight are horrendous. Nigga, they built like silverback apes. But when you look like Charlize Theron and you throwing niggas through windows,
you didn't like the movie where she was an assassin?
I watched it, but I didn't chew my popcorn the same.
Okay, but I get it like a Charlize Theron. Okay, I can see where you're coming from, and I get that it's like for more movie production-ish. But what about like women like Ronda Rousey?
She got an ass whip.
Okay, but I know, but Ronda Rousey, if you really look at it, especially with her intro scene in the Expendables, that bitch jaw is real. Like she got mannish jaw, nigga. Like she's not that cute. It's forcible.
Would you be checking for a penis?
With Ronda Rousey? Would Ronda Rousey?
I'm asking you. You said that there's certain women that you'd be asking and checking for.
I would. Let me ask you a question. How old are you? How old are most of y'all? Like in your 20s, 30s?
I'm about to
30.
be 36.
Yeah, 33.
And sweetheart, I'm sorry. What's your name again?
Jaylah.
Jaylah. How old are you?
Jaylah, I'll be 32 on Sunday.
32. So you probably don't even remember this movie. The guys do because it's a guys movie, but they might not either. Tango and Cash.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first mixtape. Tango and Cash.
Jaylah, have you ever seen Tango and Cash?
No, I have not.
All right, so you're not going to know this. The main prisoner with the jaw, the nigga that had that jaw, that's Ronda Rousey, nigga. That fucking jaw. Like, if you a woman and you built like that, I'll give you the fist fight. But that'd be like me watching an action movie and Jaylah beating up Benny like that.
Well,
I think she could.
I could take Benny.
Listen,
I used to be 275 pounds. Don't let right now this face fool you. I'll take a nigga down.
Listen, man.
Sorry, Benny.
I just like broads in movies, they're like built like models and they're super cute. I'm not buying the fact that you beating up a nigga that looks like an NFL lineman. I'm not buying it.
What about Halle and John Wick?
All right.
But she was just shooting people. Nah, she was just shooting people.
Yeah, really. That's anybody could pull a trigger.
He's talking about fist fighting a dude.
Yeah, like beating them up and doing special kicks and flipping them. It's like, bitch, I will grab you by your trachea and choke you the fuck out.
I can't.
Again. Oh, Clarence
There's
just
the
found the
jaw.
photo from Tango and Cash.
There's the jaw. I can tell from here.
That's the dude right there.
Did you look it up?
Clarence,
No, it's right there in our background.
he just put up a photo. Clarence, say something.
Yeah, I had to look it up, man. After you said that, I was like, nah.
Yeah, that nigga right there. Look at it. That don't look like Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, just like
Hey, you know
You're
what
like,
kind of looks like too? It kind of looks like the teacher, Miss Trenchbutt from Matilda.
No, I was gonna say it looked like Quagmire.
Yo,
Oh man. So now that people are locked up, give them five films they need to watch.
Oh wow. Goodfellas. I'm gonna throw in a film from a from a documentary I just saw, which they should really watch both. There's a great documentary on Netflix called De Palma about director Brian De Palma.
Brian De Palma, yeah.
Who did Scarface. And it's just so interesting about the movie industry and all the shit he had to go through. But he did a movie from back in the day. It's talking about John Leguizamo, and then I'm going to give John some props, called Casualty of War, with Michael J. Fox, Sean Penn, and a young John Leguizamo. Yo, John is an incredible actor, man.
We're trying to get him.
He's been around since forever.
We're trying to get him on the show.
John's an incredible actor, man. I forgot he was in that movie. But Casualties of War, movie. My go-to whenever, especially whenever I have a hero sandwich, is Tombstone.
Really?
Tombstone, back when Val Kilmer was sexy.
Yo, what's up with him? He's like sick, right? He got like a...
I don't know if he got sick. He just been eating a lot of salami, nigga.
Yo.
Yeah.
I feel like he's sick though, bro.
I think Val's got like some sort of cancer though.
Cancer.
Is that right?
I see what you're saying though.
Yeah. Anything by Denzel.
Woo! Yo, Training
by Denzel. The only movie I ever hated from Denzel was Virtuosity.
Yeah, that was trash.
That's the one with Angelina Jolie.
No, that's the one with Russell Crowe.
Yeah, with Russell Crowe.
Never seen
that one, and Out of Time was kind of whack too.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest, but it was watchable.
I like Man on Time, Man Out of Time. It's Out of Time.
Out of Time. No, there was another one. The Inside Man, where he had that like Lou Bega get up with the mustache.
You didn't like that?
Yeah.
No, I was not 100% on it with him.
Yo, anything
that shit was fire, bro.
I felt about
Get out of here.
Man on Fire was amazing.
But everything else, Denzel I watch. My mom loves Denzel. She said that's the only man she'll cheat on my dad with.
I told my mom that if she divorced my dad, she had to marry LL Cool J just because I said so.
Yo, fuck it. That's what you want as your stepdad?
Fuck it.
I told my girl, Michael Jordan's the only nigga she could fuck and I wouldn't get mad.
Yeah,
really.
But she got to bring something back signed. Can't just get a pussy away for free. I need a sneaker, a hat, a jersey, something.
Carolina jersey.
Jeter's the right one for that. He gives all the.
No, Jeter don't give no order. He makes them sign the NDA. You don't.
Like Justin Bieber.
He gives them a basket, a to-go basket.
You get it right. You coming into Jeter's apartment? Excuse me. Could you put your handbag right here? Please.
Yeah, bro. He gives
them a to-go bag.
It's a glass of wine. And then the next morning, he's like, bacon and eggs and your shoes and phone and purse are right there. See you tomorrow.
He know what it is.
He gives a little basket with like a
little bag. Like, oh, thank you. Welcome.
What were Jeter's to-go basket now in the coronavirus times having it?
A good question. Yeah, that was a good question. I don't know. Maybe her panties back.
Yeah.
Lotion. Probably a Rolex watch.
Bacterial soap.
Yeah, there you
Hand
go.
sanitizer and toilet paper.
There you go, baby.
Some Clorox wipes.
Yeah, find those no more.
But you gave me what you gave me. You gave me
Goodfellas, Tombstone,
the one with John. That's a Brian De Palma film.
Casualties of War. Anything Denzel.
Anything Denzel. That's one more.
Damn. Oh, one more. Oh.
I mean, I think that's why he said anything by Denzel. I think he was avoiding that.
Denzel movie.
You know, I would say Rocky, but I really love. I watch it constantly. Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Avengers Endgame and Infinity War stay on my playlist.
We're living in those times right now. Like, there's a real fucking Thanos right now, and he's just like, "Oh, coronavirus! I need to get."
Yeah, but well, then where the fuck is the rest of the team? Where's the heroes?
There's no heroes.
Heroes.
There's no heroes. There's no leaders in this.
Nah, man. Nah.
Where the fuck is Barack Obama at? That's what I want to know.
Chilling.
Bunker, bro. In his
Barack
bunker.
is chilling.
got, man.
Dude's in a
Laughing
resort
right
by
now.
himself with his wife, by them, like chilling.
Appreciate me now. You know, there's times where I miss George Bush as president.
Oh no. I don't know if I
Think
necessarily.
about it.
Yo, at least he was more presidential than our actual
Aries,
president.
I could give you 3 presidents right now. You got to pick one. George Bush, the
And
father,
nobody remembers
George
that.
Bush,
I was
the
dumb
son,
that dude.
or Trump. You gotta pick one of those 3.
To do what? Be the president for what? Like forever?
No, 1 term. The next term of your life, you gotta
You
have
said Bush Senior, Bush Junior, and Trump.
Yep.
Oh, dude, compared to Trump, nigga, I'll take Charles Manson, nigga. I'll take anybody. I'll take anybody, dude.
Yeah.
Let's just get rid of this piece of shit.
Yeah.
Damn. That just, it goes, you think about it, and people didn't want Hillary in there, but like, let's be serious.
Over some fucking emails.
Yeah, man. I know.
Bro, they didn't want Hillary there because America's sexist, bro. They're more sexist than they are racist.
No, they just don't.
I don't know about that, but
they just don't trust her.
Bro, they elected Barack Obama over Hillary, right? They weren't gonna. They elected
Barack
Hillary, and Trump is a fucking retard.
But we got to be honest about something.
Barack,
you know, if you got the goods, you got the goods. And Barack was Denzel of politics, nigga. He just had it all: eloquence, sex appeal, articulation, smooth.
And he
just was it. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Still to this day.
What I don't understand is all of y'all are Latin, right?
Yeah. No. So, Clarence is black.
Yeah.
Our producer's white. Me, my brother, and Craze are Dominican. Well, we're Latino, and Jaylah is
Costa Rican
and Salvadorian.
Okay, so Hispanic though.
Yeah, mostly.
All right. Explain to me why you have Latinos that are going Latinos for Trump.
Okay, I get it.
And before you answer that, black people, we call our people that go blacks for Trump, we call them coons and sellouts. What's the term you give to Latinos who are coons?
So those Latinos are just like whites and blacks, they're conservative Latinos, right? They have an old school way of thinking. You know, even in my household, when I grow up, my grandmother was like, oh, I'm not black. But meanwhile, my grandmother is your complexion. So, to me, it always, because to them, they grew up with black is bad, white is good, right? So that's an old school way of thinking. And there's a lot of old school conservative Latinos who do not understand that they're in the exact same struggle and that they are black themselves. Now, my complexion, you know, I look like a light-skinned Latino, but I'm black. I've done a DNA test. I'm black. Now, I can't be in the world like, yo, I'm black, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. Obviously, because perception, people are going to be like, yo, Rick, you're fucking bugging. But
right.
I understand that my heritage is the Spaniards that raped the slaves in DR, and I'm a result of that. Now, you look at Craze, he's Dominican, and he's a darker shade than me, and my grandmother's darker than Craze.
Yo, listen, the answer to the question from me, bro, is racism. That's what it is, bro.
It exists.
Latinos are racist. What, bro? That's what it is, bro. You know?
So even though he goes to Puerto Rico and he throws the paper towels, his response was late. Mexican kids in cages. They're sending their worst rapists, murderers, building a wall.
Also,
Latinos don't see that and go, this man don't care about us?
No, you know what it is too? There's Rick, and let me just real quick.
Right.
Within our own people, there is already a separation.
Yeah.
So between the older Hispanics and the new age Latinos, between the LGBT ones, between the dark ones, between the Afro Latinos, there's already Costa Ricans is a neutral country, but Mexicans don't like this person, Colombians don't like that person, Dominicans don't like here, Puerto Ricans don't like there. There is no unity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, a lack of education.
I mean, bro, it's not even that,
Let
bro.
me finish this point.
There's a lot of
There's Spanish people that see that and they're like, oh, he doesn't hate us, he hates Mexican people.
My grandma,
Not knowing that Trump thinks of all Hispanic people as Mexicans.
as Mexicans, yes, you're 100% correct. But it's based on the fact of lack of education. That's one, and lack of diversity. First of all, people that grew up in the countryside never finished school, never went to school, and they were like, they got brainwashed thinking we got to keeping the race pure shit is what drives everybody's whole racism point. My grandmother got a 2nd grade education. All my uncles never graduated the 6th grade, and only one uncle that came to the U.S., lived in the U.S. most of his life, got college educated, was a teacher himself, was the only one that could understand and had a different point of view from everybody else in his family. So it's a number of things, because when I was growing up, all Puerto Rican people are bad. Meanwhile, guess what happened? I ended up marrying a woman that's Puerto Rican and Cuban, right? It's just a lack of being open-minded, a lack of education, and a lack of, like, you'll meet somebody that's from us. Oh, they had a bad experience with this person, then they all have to be like that. And that.
Well, I know on the East Coast, the dominant Hispanic culture is Puerto Rican and Dominican. On the West Coast, it's Mexican.
Yeah.
I never understood why Mexicans and Puerto Ricans hate each other so bad.
That's, man, I can't explain that one. My best friend is Mexican. I just don't know. I know the demographics of it. I know Mexico's close to the West Coast, and Puerto Ricans and New York and Dominicans go up.
Well, I mean, I have a cousin who's Mexican. My Costa Rican side, we're all halves.
And Crazy's son is Mexican and Puerto Rican, which is even crazier.
So a lot of it has to do with it's like classism almost. Like,
yeah. Yeah, that's what it is.
Mexicans think they're a higher class than most other people, or they think lower of smaller countries. You know, like the East Coast, like you said, is very Caribbean, very Cuban, very Dominican, very Puerto Rican, you know, and it's, I mean, imagine I fall in a realm where my people barely exist. And if I get any type of recognition for my country, it's, oh my God, pura vida from Costa Rica. And then, oh my God, you're Salvadorian, you're MS-13, you're a gang member. Like,
so the fact that you're all, at the end of the day, Latino, that's not a unity sticking point.
It should be, but it really isn't for the most part.
Older generations, it's not, which is the crazy thing. And I think Jaylah hit it on the head. It's more classist than racist.
Yeah, I think our generations have mixed with each other a little bit more, and so we're
more American. All of us are
more open-minded, but also the fact that, bro, and it's just, so, you know how people, like, when people say you move out the hood or whatever, there's people that, like, generationally, and I know this happens with a lot with second and like third generation Mexicans, they get so, like, close to whiteness that then they start seeing themselves as, like, the elite Latinos. You get what I'm saying? And so I think
yeah.
happens, you know, in every culture. Like, even black people, some people would say that that's what it is with them. Like, they got so close to, like, wanting to be white that now that they feel like they got to reinforce that.
I mean, it's very simple to the point. Imagine right now we've gone from being Hispanics, because that's originally what we were classified as, Hispanic. That turned into Latino. Latino turned into a masculine term, and now you have the new age millennial Latinxes, which are the ones trying to create some type of that unification, but necessarily now added a different level of that same classism.
Like, see, and the whole reason why I brought this up, again, I don't mean to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but the whole reason why I brought this up is, again, because Rick listens to the podcast. One of the arguments that I've always had with Andy, which never made sense to me, and just like what you just said, you went from this kind of Latino to that kind, to that kind, to that kind. Black people have gone from colored to black to Negroes to niggas to African Americans. So everybody, whether you're Asian, Hispanic, black, whatever your nationality is it feels like we're all struggling to get the scraps of white acceptance.
Yeah.
Because somehow that's royalty. Somehow when we are, when we get that acceptance, that we fighting so hard for those crumbs that it's like, don't we see they treat us all the same? And I want to be careful because I don't want to make it seem like all white people. I'm talking about the racist ones. But this country has a history of deep racism. Why is it that blacks don't like Latinos, Asians don't like blacks?
Because
everybody hates niggas. But hold on. Everybody hates niggas. But yet, the same people, minorities that are hating us, they talk about y'all too.
The same way.
They feel that way about y'all too.
That's one of the points where I don't agree with you. I mean, I grew up in East Harlem. I grew up in Harlem, and I grew up in black culture. I listened to hip hop. I was into that, immersed into that culture before I even learned about my heritage. So it's not that everybody hates black people.
But you got to understand something, what you just said. You were in that. Everybody as a whole ain't in hip hop culture.
Yeah. No.
Everybody don't think like you think. Grow up the way you grow up. That's not the majority. So, like, there's a war going on where a lot of Mexicans
you just consider the minority.
Bro, but I feel like it has to do with what you said earlier too, the competition. So we are taught that we are in competition with each other for like this proximity to whiteness. You feel me?
Yeah.
Be close to like this. I'm saying like culturally. Some of us now in our generations are like, I don't want to be that, like, I don't necessarily need to be close to that. Like, the problem is that, especially even in the fields that we're in, like, that is seen as like, that's where the money's at too. Like, I feel like there's a thing of competing for resources. Like, there's all this abundance of stuff that we could do together as as people of color, but the mentality that we're taught is that we're in competition for like the spots that are for minorities.
And that's why we're never gonna get anywhere. And I'm talking about Latinos, blacks, Asians.
Well, I think we'll get somewhere, but these conversations need to be had.
Absolutely.
Because I think too many people live in denial about what it really is. But I know, even in being in the show business, I mean, how many Latin talk show, how many Latin nighttime talk show hosts are there? Not one. How many Asian? Not one. How many Indian? Not one. Arsenio was our only one, and he's gone. So it's like the roles, the opportunities that exist for minorities are so seldom and few, and we've been stereotyped and we've been made fun of. That again, why aren't we looking at that as, yo, we're in this together, as opposed to, hey, I'm Latin, I'm not gonna like you because you're black, because in order for me to get white acceptance, I have to act like they do. I have to believe as they do.
I think that the generation that Jayla mentioned, Latinx, that's the generation that we're in. That's what we're striving for, honestly. My wife, she serves, my wife works in the advertisement industry. She serves on a board of a nonprofit organization that is, all they do is they help minorities get into the ad industry. Because 12, 15 years ago, the ad industry was sued for lack of diversity. So the generation now, I'm talking about people who are maybe under the 30s, they're trying to get diversity and inclusion. That's the big thing that's going to happen. That's been happening for the last 4 or 5 years. And some of these roles that are going up, that's why you're seeing, the transgender community, the LGBTQ, Latin, blacks. That's why you're seeing all those roles. Like, people are taking a closer look at those roles. And for me personally, if somebody says, oh, I'll take on your podcast. Joe Rogan came to me today. Joe Rogan's a white man. Joe Rogan's like, Rick, I'm starting a network. I want your podcast on my network. But you got to be X, Y, and Z. You can't be A, B, and C the way you are. I would turn him down. I think we need to stick to our guns, stick to your culture, promote your culture. That's what this show does.
You know what the problem is?
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. I understand that. Easier said than done. I understand that.
But Aries hit it on the nail, though. We need to keep having these conversations, as uncomfortable as they are, because at the end of the day, I'm in a situation where my parents decided to leave New York to go to Florida to put us in a white world in Boca Raton, Florida, and grow up white and grow up whatever way that was. And I still found myself trying to get the culture, trying to come to New York, trying to live in Harlem and live in the Bronx and do all of these other things. But it was for me because I wanted that education. Like, I wanted to be like, yo, I want to know more. Like, they look like me, they act like me, but I'm not from there. And now I have the issue where I am raising an Afro-Latina daughter. She's Costa Rican, Salvadorian, and Puerto Rican. And when I want to speak up for Afro-Latinos or for Black people or for African Americans, I get looked at like, yo, pretty girl, white girl, shut up, go sit down. And it's not fair when at the end of the day, my grandfather, I come from Costa Rica, that was one of the first places I ever went in the world that I completely appreciated, because my aunt has green eyes and blonde hair. My grandfather has dark hair and blue eyes. And guess what? My step-grandfather, my grandmother, everybody else in my family is Black. And it was so beautiful to see all of those places uniting, all those colors. And they didn't care. They were just who they were. And seeing that different colorism here and the classism and having all of that, it's having these conversations and breaking that down. But again, we need to unite in these conversations in order for that to happen.
So Jaylah, you said you're culture-wise, you are what? What are your nationalities?
I'm Central American. So my mom is from El Salvador and my dad's from Costa Rica, which are 2 day and nights. There are no Black people in El Salvador and in Costa Rica. We were at one point, all the immigrants from Jamaica were fleeing during their war and their civil time, that they came to what is a huge spot in Costa Rica. So we have a lot of, we are a melting pot of cultures.
Now, okay, so El Salvadorian and Costa Rica, you're both those things.
Yes.
Yeah, and you said the people would say to you, white girl, be quiet and go sit down. As a Latin woman, I know how crazy you bitches are. You got double deuce in you, and you let them tell you to sit down. I know you went Scarface on them.
You know, obviously there's times and places for that. And when you're trying to make that point, sometimes having, and that's another thing. I think we're all, we have to break it's a generational cycle, because we're conditioned to a lot of these things. I think a lot of us are raised to, like, you know, like they said, like, oh, the blanquita, let's keep the race and whatever. It's breaking those generational cycles and saying, like, yo, like, let's keep it moving forward. Like, where how can we grow in this?
One thing I'm sorry, Jen. One thing I don't subscribe to is the changing of the labels and making things cute. You know, I believe we're all Latinos. When you start to say, I'm Afro-Latino, I'm this type of Latino, or I'm that type of Latino, that's when you're going wrong. The same thing with minorities. We're all considered minorities in the U.S., right? That includes Blacks, Asians, and Latinos, right? When you start to divide yourself, that's where sometimes you need that, let's get together and all that. That sounds cute, but you need somebody to enforce that shit, to be like, nah, Afro-Latino, you're Latino. That's what you are. Yes, Latino is of Hispanic, Spanish, and African descent mixed into one. That's what it basically is. So I think when we start those things, that's when I'm like, I don't subscribe to that one. But Latin, I understand what they're trying to get to. They're trying to do diversity and inclusion. They're trying to tell our Latin heritage and our story. And there are Afro-Latinos. Like, I have a close friend of mine. That's what he considers himself. And nothing but respect. That's what he considers himself. That's fine. But I feel at the end of the day, you need to be what you are.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, everybody should be proud about being who they are. I just wish there was more unity within the races, because, and again, I don't want this to come off like I'm trying to paint all white people as evil monsters, because they're certainly not. But it's just amazing how we just all are trying to, like, demean each other when it's like we should be eating from the same trough, because we're all treated and seen the same way by the enemy.
So for years, that's been my pet peeve. Like, why are we trying to separate, you know, each other? Like, Latinos and Blacks, forget Asians, right? Asians are in a different category. Let's just be honest.
But they are, but they too have been depicted in movies and in media negatively in stereotypes and fucked up. So again, and I know that a lot of Asians don't like black people. We're like the most hated race on the planet because again, it's acceptable in order to be deemed at a high level. You can't like niggas. Those are the rules.
Paul Mooney said it best. Nobody wants to be a nigga, but everybody
want to be a nigga. And he said, one of my favorite lines is when he was
100% correct with it.
When he is Latinos go, I'm not black. He like, motherfucker, Latinos ain't nothing but niggas that can swim.
Yeah.
So it's like, we all the same, man.
One, you were having that argument for those, you guys don't listen to the pod. Andy is Mexican and he's also Jewish, right? But when he's giving the Latino point of view to the audience of Spears and Steinberg, they're just like combating his point of view. So when I hear those arguments between you and Andy, I wish sometimes I could be like, listen, let me give you the perspective. Like one time you were asking, is there a phrase that says "my nigga" basically, or "my nigga"? In Spanish is "de lo mío."
But
like, Dominicans say "de lo mío." That's my dog. That's my nigga.
Right, but does it specifically mean my dog or my nigga?
My nigga. Like there's a guy that created a sneaker for Nike, and he told Nike, like, oh, this is my boy. I have an interview with him. I'll send you the clip. When he was pitching it to Nike, Nike was like, I don't know if we could use that phrase because we heard that this is what it means. But realistically, when somebody says like Craze de lo mío personal, like that person, that's my nigga personally. That's what it means for us, for Dominicans.
Right.
And there's a phrase like that for every Latin, like for Puerto Ricans, for Cubans, for everybody. So when you were going through that argument with Andy, I was just like, man, I wish I could like listen. Let me give you the Latino point of view. Boom.
Right.
Not to say that he's not, because he very much is. It's just like I get also sometimes see me, people look at me and they're like, oh, you what's the phrase, Craze? You pass, you're passed. You could pass for this, or you could do that, but at the end of the day, when I open my mouth, no, I can't. Rick, like, they see me like, oh, yes. Rick, you can walk in. All right, good looking, man. What? Nah, you got to go back outside with the rest of Latinos and the rest of blacks. I can pass for it physically the way I look, but the person that I am, I don't think so.
I think you white, bro.
I
think you white, Rick.
No, he ain't got no white. I don't see no white nigga. That beard is struggle, nigga. Yeah, that beard's got history written all over it. Trust me, he ain't right. But hey, listen, fellas, I love y'all, man. I gotta get back to the kids. Anything else y'all want to cover before I dip?
No. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on. Hopefully, when you're in New York, we do this personally.
I didn't know y'all was in New York, man. I always love doing in studio more than the phone, because a lot of times people are asking me on the phone to do impressions, and it just never sounds, it never translates the same way as being here on the mic. So I definitely look forward to coming in. Where do y'all do it at? Like what's the city?
In Washington, in Manhattan. We do it in Manhattan.
Okay.
All the way uptown.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I definitely look forward to that, man. You got my number. Real quick, y'all, the Spears and Steinberg podcast, The Jew and the Jerk. It's available through iTunes, Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon, and Spearsburg.com. Hit me up in my DMs on Instagram, and I'll send you the link personally. Benny, Rick, Lewis, Jayla, thank y'all so much, man.
Thank you, Aries. Thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
No doubt. Anytime, man. Mi casa, su casa.
Likewise.
And how you say it in Dominican, my nigga?
De lo mío.
De lo mío.
De lo mío.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, de lo mío. walk up to every Hispanic I know and just go, "De lo mío."
If you wanna emphasize on that, you gotta put personal at the
What's
end.
that mean?
Personally.
So you say "De lo mío personal."
Yeah.
Personal.
Personal.
Perfect.
Yep.
Almost sounds Italian.
Yeah.
Fucking "De lo mío personal."
You love Italians, Aries.
I love them, man. Motherfucker, I love them, man. I love them. They niggas. They, and them be the ones in the most denial.
Mm-hmm.
Big noses, leather chains, leather jackets, gold chains, and Cadillacs, nigga. What are we doing?
Tracksuits.
There you go.
Yo, good.
Baby.
Love you, man.
Appreciate the time, my brother.
No doubt, no doubt.
Spears and Steinberg. It comes on every Wednesday. Every Wednesday,
new episode.
Sometimes they do a special and they drop a Thursday episode.
Yeah.
Aries Spears,
yeah.
Andy Steinberg, the podcast. You can find it anywhere. I'll put a link on our Instagram, Facebook also.
Decimated by Sanad. I know I fucked that whole thing up, but you know what I mean. All right, Joe.
All right, Aries.
No doubt.
Bye.
All right.
Yo.
Bro, we held that nigga hostage for like an hour and a half, bro.
Yeah.
I know. He said, yo, I'm only going to do 20 minutes.
Dika 20 minutes.
I'm only doing 20 minutes. I was like, all right, Aries.
I mean, I kept texting you like,
good job.
rap.
That's all that means. Good job.
I didn't know that nigga was
Next week, we're going to have Mark Reigns on the show. And I got some special things happening on the side. It'll be our 60th episode, season 5, Loud and Live. Jaylah Sandoval.
I can't hear you.
Benny Banks, Craze Boogie, Clarence, Trees Productions, Wadsworth Entertainment Group, Craze. Take us home.
Yo, con mucho, pero mucho amor.
Amor. See you next Tuesday.